countdown is going on live, but I'm not sure if we can talk while the countdown is going. So we'll just wait until it
I can hear you fine.
okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Grown Woman Talk. Another exciting conversation. Here at Real Grown Woman Talk, we just have conversations about how to take the next best steps on your journey to success. Our goal is to provide you with simple strategies so that you can move and live in and on purpose. And I'm always excited about every conversation that we have here. And this conversation is no different. My real grown woman guest this evening is none other than Miss Nikki Coner. Miss Nikki is the business strategist. She is, I'm telling you, you're in for a treat. So, I'm always telling you, come here, prepared to learn and comment and share. So go ahead, comment out, share. And I hope you got your pen and paper ready, even though you can listen to the replay. We want you to grab these nuggets because she is the woman that can help you with your automation. Whatever it is, when it comes to business strategy, and getting that mind right when it comes to success, Nikki is the go-to person. So Nikki, welcome to Real Grown Woman Talk.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. Nikki and I connected on LinkedIn, and I was just so amazed at just the level of knowledge that she has. And I'm thinking, okay, she got to be a guest on my Real Grown Woman Talk because the women need to hear from you. And so I want you to just give an introduction, let the women know who you are and really what you do. I kind of gave you a brief one, but share your awesomeness with our Real Grown women on tonight.
Yes. So my name is Nikki Coner, and I am the CEO and founder of Package Your Profit. And basically what we do here at our agency is we help our sisters get over the overwhelm of technology so that they can show up in the marketplace and be the best person that they were called to be. A lot of times we get stuck in the overwhelm of, number one, how am I going to create my offerings? Number two, how am I going to package my offerings, right? And create a cohesive journey for our clients that just makes sense. And then number three, how to automate the entire process. So that is what we do at our agency.
That is beautiful. And I'm sure that there are a lot of women that need to do just that. So again, if you're tuning in, go ahead, hit that share button. Sharing is caring. And tonight's conversation is about the CEO mindset for success. The CEO mindset for success. As we are counting down to the last few days of 2020, we know that it has been both the best of times and worst of times. And as we are embracing and preparing for 2021, that is the key word. We don't know what 2021 holds, but here at Grown Black Woman Success, you've heard me say it before. You don't get what you pray for, you get what you prepare for. And while you're praying, I want you to be tuning in so that you can get prepared. And it all starts with your mindset. And so when we're talking about the CEO mindset for success. When you are engaging with your clients and having these conversations, because everything starts with the mindset. Do you believe that, Nikki?
It really does. It definitely, it all begins with your mindset. It begins and ends with your mindset.
And so, what would you say to an individual woman who is kind of, and I'm sure you've had these conversations because we're both coaches and strategists, but when you have women that come to you and they have this dream and this idea, and then we all, and I don't know if you're like me, but I have this challenge of getting them to go back to the fundamentals and understanding the why. Do you have that challenge? Have you experienced that challenge with women, or maybe they already come to you with their why ready to rock and roll? So, have you what about you? Tell me, is that your case?
So most of the women that come to us, they have already established their why. They have already established what they are wanting to do in the marketplace. The real issue that we deal with in our agency is that a lot of our clients simply don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that that they are the solution and that they can fulfill that how for a lot of their clients. And that is why I named our agency Package to Profit. And on our logo, there is like a missing piece, right? So the sister is whole, right? And then
Mhm.
there's a missing piece where they're missing just one area that can connect it all for them and bring it home for them so that they can be profitable in the marketplace and then have that confidence and belief in themselves so that they can get what they're worth.
And so, how do you begin to help them shape their mindset to get them in that position to get past the imposter syndrome and all of that?
So I'm going to be honest and transparent with you, Leslie. When I first launched my agency, that wasn't the focus. The focus was I had women who were just stuck on technology. And I found very quickly when we launched our agency that the technology was the last thing. Like the technology was like a piece of cake, but it was really just a mindset of pulling it all together. And so sometimes with the women, it's not necessarily that they need me to pour belief into them. Sometimes it's just a matter of me just pulling out something that makes sense and let them see what they've been putting out and pulling it all together. The fact that they're all over the place is what contributes to the um, the the lack of confidence.
Yes, 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 yes. Because that's part of what I call like that whole why process. Because they're quick to, and if you're like me, you're creative, visionary, you have a whole bunch of ideas. And I know when I got started, I want to coach over here and over here and over here, and I had to slowly learn that I was wearing myself out. And so when I really got centered on the why, I really got clear about who it is and it took me a minute. It wasn't like this overnight thing. It took me a minute of, like you were saying, trying different things and working through it and having conversations. And I was like, you know what, I'm good over here, but I'm really in my zone of genius over here. And helping women see, like, yes, you are good enough. You are called to do this. You just can't see it yet. But let me, as you said, taking them through the process of thinking, what are you good at, what is your zone of genius you can do with your eyes closed, and then helping them realize, okay, we can package that up and we can make that work. And they were like, really? Like, yeah, we can do that. And once we get them to that good place, what is a good next step that you, because we know that this is, we're talking about the CEO mindset for success. So once a person kind of gets clear, and we understand, I'm hearing you say that clarity and confidence, those are two C's that we beat to death at Grown Black. Well, I know they probably get sick of me talking about clarity and confidence, but that is so crucial. So how do you begin to get your women in position to get clear and confident? Is it a session that they have with you? Is it a program that they have? Is it some exercises that you do?
So when we bring on clients in our agency, they get 12 one-on-one success coaching with my success team. They also get a customer's journey coaching call. They get up to four of those where we actually work with them and get more clarity around what they're actually offering. And one thing that I do always talk about how clarity is king.
Mhm.
Um, because clarity at the end of the day is what is going to allow you to monetize. And a lot of times I find that my clients are actually having imposter syndrome. And so I don't necessarily have them deter away from the syndrome. I usually have them step into it, right? And then have them really focus on, okay, if you're using imposter syndrome, what area are you really strong in those spaces? And so we coach them through that. And then from there, we birth who they were truly meant to call or called to serve. If that makes sense from what I'm from.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Emerald has joined us. Welcome, Emerald. Thank you for joining the conversation.
yeah, I just invited my following.
Yes. And
Hey,
then we talked about imposter syndrome. Can you share with our ladies what that is, just in case they maybe need to self-diagnose themselves?
so imposter syndrome is basically like when you see someone doing something else, right? Like you're trekking along, you're on your journey, you're trying to figure it out, right? And along your journey, you see something like, oh, I should do this, or oh, I could do this, right? Or oh, I could do this, or I could do that. And you start picking up all these things. And a lot of times when my clients come to me, they have this big bag of all these different things that they have brought together, that they're all like, well, what do I do with all these pieces, right? Not necessarily realizing that those aren't even the pieces that were designed and given to them. Those were pieces that they've taken from other people. And so that is what imposter syndrome is: taking things from others that are not necessarily yours, but embodying them as if they're yours. And then you're carrying this baggage, trying to figure out how you're going to serve.
Yes, yes. And when you know that you have imposter syndrome is when you're trying to deliver something that you know you've been called to do, and it is not fitting. It's like it's like you're an imposter. You are standing up and mimicking someone else, their conversation, their style, and their flow, and then you end up feeling like you're not good enough. It's because you're not being true to you. And it's easy to do. I'm not going to tell a tale. When I first got started in coaching, I got my certification, and I was nervous because I really wanted to work with young girls, and there weren't a lot of people at the time working with young girls. And so I was looking at what other women were doing, and I was like, you know what? I don't have that car, that house. I don't have the money to do that. Money to do that. Does that mean that I'm not good enough? And so what I started doing was trying to put those pieces together, and then I would, even though I had my coaching certification, it was great, one of the best in the world, and yet I found myself wanting to take other certification because I wanted to be like that group and all of that. And it happens slowly, whether you know it or not. And it mostly comes from fear, and not have being clear, but not feeling like also you're good enough to step into what it is that you have been called to do. And so, in case you're feeling that way right now, let me be the one to tell you, you are good enough. You have it in you, girl. You got it. You just need to believe that you have it. Then you just need to get clear, get you a process and a system down so that you can rock it out. That's what I wanted to make sure before we dive any more into this conversation, that women get beyond that I'm not good enough. Honey, you good enough. You are good enough. And those ideas that you have that are all over the place, like Nikki said, you might just need to, everything may not be for right now. It may be that you need to just get it out of your head, get it on paper, and at the appropriate time, it'll come back and it'll make sense. So, what are some qualities? How does a person know what type of mindset they have? What first, let's go with what is the mindset of a CEO, since that's the topic of our conversation.
Well, the mindset of the CEO is that you need to make sure that you're the person that is in the forefront, creating opportunities for your business, right? You have the mindset that you are going to win, right? No CEO wakes up and goes out and um, doesn't think that they're going to succeed, right? They know that they're going to be successful. And another thing is there's no such thing as a broke CEO, right? So you need to get rid of that broken mindset of, you can't afford, or you can't do this, you can't do that. No, like, you are the CEO, you're owning and taking ownership of who you were called to be and who you were called to serve. And it's just a matter of you just figuring out how, not a matter of can't, but it's how can I.
I love that. Figuring it out, ladies, figuring out how, finding a way and not a reason. I've talked to so many women that have reasons why, like you said, they don't have the money, they don't have, honey, we've all had to go down that journey, but it's kind of like Les Brown said. How bad do you want it? You gotta be hungry. Gotta find a way to make it happen because this is your future, this is your business, and this is your legacy. So we've talked about that mindset of what it takes. Like I said, I think it was a couple of months ago. I was talking to one of my mentors, and he was really quite frank. And they were like, "Leslie, if you're not making money, you don't have a business. You have a shell company." And I was like, "Wow,
You have
wow,
a what company?
shell company."
Oh, okay.
And
I've
I was
heard of an expensive hobby.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, like for real, that hit me home. I was like, you're right. And it forces you again to find a way and not all of these different reasons. And I remember when the whole growth mindset happened. It was I want to say, oh, I want to date myself, but it was like around 2015, 16. No, before then. But Carol Dweck came out with a book, and I fell in love with the book. And I was sharing it with the girls that we mentor about the growth mindset, the psychology for success. And one of the things that she talked about in the book that really stuck with me was, the way that they were talking about how to go from a fixed mindset to a mixed mindset to a growth mindset because it is a journey. And
Mhm.
she was talking about the growth mindset. I mean, how we as parents don't just little things that we can do differently to encourage our youth. She was talking to teachers and all of that. And she said that this really struck home with me. She said, just telling a kid that they are so smart, congratulating them for being so smart is something that we might need to change. We want to celebrate kids for their effort and not so much for their intelligence. And I had to sit with that for a minute because, I was telling, girl, you are so smart. Go ahead and do that. And she said the reason being is because kids will continue to do the things that they're good at so that they can get that positive feedback. They won't challenge themselves. They'll do what's easiest. But when you celebrate their effort, they're willing to try different things as long as they know that you're celebrating them for the effort that they make. And that was one of the things that I really thought about, even with my grandbaby. Now I'm real careful the words I say to her. So I just say, there goes Granny Baby. Because, sometimes we say she's cute and you're so smart and beautiful. But I was like, you know what? I want her to be comfortable in her own skin no matter what. I want her to know that her granny loves her. And that is something that I had to unlearn as an adult, as a CEO, because when I grew up, it was a couple of us as cousins. And I'll be a little transparent here because I know this is going to help someone. When I grew up, I was the smart one. My cousins were the pretty one. I was the smart one. Not that people didn't tell me I was pretty, but again, when we see people, oh, y'all are so pretty, and girl, Les, you are so smart. And so I never really saw myself as pretty, and I'm like, but I always knew I was smart. And I was thinking to myself when I heard that, I said, I'm wondering, do is there a direct correlation in that? And even as CEOs, we have to have those moments too that we be willing to unlearn some things to get from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset that is required for us to really have a mindset for success. And I'm wondering, have you had one of those moments in your life where you realize, you know what, I had to unlearn some things so that I could fully step into what it is that you're doing now?
So you said a mouthful. So can you reiterate your last question for me? Like,
Like,
how,
was there a moment when you realized that you had to unlearn some things, like you had a fixed mindset about certain things? When it came to your business or when it came to you as a woman, whether it was in your relationships or anything. Like I was sharing, like when I grew up hearing that I was smart and athletic. I don't necessarily remember, and I'm sure people told me I was pretty, but that's not what stuck with me. And so and even in my business, I always focused on smart but it never. And then one day when I was reading that comment that Carol made about how we can just certain things focusing more on people's intelligence as opposed to their effort. And I wondered, had you had moments in your life where you were focused more on either one? It was your beauty, or did you hear you were smart growing up? Did you hear that you were smart and beautiful, dumb, stupid? Was there anything you had to unlearn to get to the growth mindset that you have now?
It's so funny. We were having a conversation like this, kind of similar with my mom. And the biggest thing with me is I've always been ambitious. I've always been one of those who believed in myself. I didn't care what others said about me, even
Mm,
from a kid. I was one of those, if I wanted to do something, I would go out there and find the resources that I needed to pull it together, um, and just make it happen. I have always pursued. I will say the one thing that I've had to shift with mindset wise
hmm
is when I decided to leave nursing and retire from nursing was the that income, right? The income that I was making. Once I hit that in my business, it was hard for me to push past that threshold. Uh,
mm,
and so we really just we hit roadblocks in different parts. So that's what I'm getting from you. Basically, like, you know, excuse me, you had different roadblocks, you had different things that came across your path, and you just pushed past it. And for me, my roadblock was just the financial piece, and that I was worthy of achieving that. Um, because just seeing that struggle, coming up or being told, oh, I can't get this, or you can't have that because of this, or
yes,
lack of
yes,
funds.
yes.
That was the biggest area for me. And even as I grow, right, like we just crossed 6 figures a month as an agency, and our goal is to go to 500,000 a month. But
Right.
in between me growing to that, there are some thresholds that I need to do to grow past that.
Yeah.
So I'm working through that right now, actually. And so what I want any woman that's watching this video to really hone in on, which Leslie just talked about, the different things that show up right in your business that you have to restructure or redirect. Be prepared that as you break through that barrier and you
Mm,
run your race, it's going to come up again, right? Because usually that roadblock keeps coming up again at a higher level. I
yes.
think of it as, it's so funny. I think of it as like Mario Kart, right? Like, you know how each level, not Mario Kart, but Mario Brothers, were
Yes.
like each each
Go up.
level, right? There was
Yes.
a different
Yes. Yes.
devil. And so
Yeah.
that's the same thing with you, but in business, it's usually the same devil, but it's on a whole different level
Yes.
each time you break past it. So just be prepared for that and understand that. And another thing I wanted to touch on, you were talking about really making sure that you focus in on those voices um, that you are worthy, right? Like you were talking about, how you focus on the good things with the kids. Well, sometimes you have to focus in on others' beliefs in you before you can believe it in yourself,
Yes.
right? Because sometimes we don't see that. And by the time we get to entrepreneurship and CEO, it's not the same level as a kid. It is like a whole like wall in between a lot of my clients that I have to literally, use a bulldozer to like knock down and say, hey, you are worthy. I do believe in you. And I just have to keep showing up and be that person for them until they can step and hone into their greatness. So I
Yes.
would say that as well. Yeah.
Yes. And dealing with your mindset, I know that for and I can only speak as black women because I'm a black woman, but one of the things that I know for us, that when you are in business, there are, as you said, there are roadblocks, and then there are also triggers that you don't realize until you embrace a client that pushes you the wrong way, that brings up something that instead of responding, you find yourself reacting. And that's why it's so important that when you develop the mindset for success, that you realize a couple of things. One is that, and uh, Gabby Bernstein says this, everything, she said, her mama told, everything is figure outable. Many times when we're getting started, we don't have the capacity to do everything. It's not our comparative advantage. But if you just get still and get quiet and realize, what, this is a journey, this is a race, then you can do this. You can't start off like, Nikki, congratulations again. I didn't want to overlook that. You hitting the 6 figure month, that threshold, that is beautiful. That is amazing. And we celebrate you and your agency for that. because that, and I'm sure that there was a journey getting there. And many times we hear those things and we thinking, okay, oh God, I wish that I could never. It's like, yes, you can, step by step, but you have to have a mindset that I am good enough. Who will listen to you? The people you have been called to serve, they will listen to you, but you have to be speaking to them. You have to speak in a way that they can understand and relate. And then you got to have something to offer. And those are the things that I really want to make sure going into 2021 that as grown Black women, we have those things in position. And when you talk about the mindset, the CEO mindset for success, what are some, and I know we talked about the belief in yourself, but are there some other foundational things that women can do to begin to shift and change their mindset if they recognize right now, you know what, I really do need to work in that. I need to put some more effort into that area of my life, developing a positive mindset.
So, like you just said it yourself. I need to do this. I need to do that. Right.
Mhm,
Um, it's just a matter of you turning that I need to I'm going to,
mhm,
and a matter of you making that decision and drawing a line in the sand. A lot of times we are, on the fence about certain things and not realizing the fact that we're not making a decision is a decision,
mhm.
right? But it's just going to that decision, that indecision is just going to basically um, give you the opposite of what you were on the fence about for that decision, basically. So let's say you're on the fence about something that you really need in your business and you know that you need this to scale to the next level and you don't make a decision and you don't move on it, right? The whole opposite is going to happen because now you know that that's what you need to go to the next level, but because you did not make a decision, right? Because you had indecision, right? Which was your decision. Now you're not going to grow and scale in that area. And so it's the same thing with your making a decision. So you just draw a line in the sand, right? You're on the fence about certain things. You're on the fence about making it happen, and just go for it. I started my business in my car, right? Literally got laid off as a nurse and didn't know what to do, right? Went home, was devastated, but I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of being in this space. And I want to venture out and be my own CEO. My boyfriend at the time did not agree with it. And so it was kind of like, hey, you can choose being staying here and being into your role as a nurse and you go find another job, or you can leave and go venture out and figure this business thing out on your own. So I chose,
Girl, you did not get that ultimatum.
I did.
Hmm. Okay.
And
The decision you made was.
the decision I made was to leave. And at the time, the car that I had was not operating. I told my clients that I was doing a 90-day challenge. Keep in mind, y'all, it's the same time of the year as it is right now when I made the sleep. So it was raining, it was cold. And I would tell my clients, like, I'm doing this 90-day challenge that wherever I go, I have to ride my bike. So I literally would meet with clients in Starbucks or wherever, and I would literally ride my bike with a poncho.
Girl, you better make it work.
And in less than 8 months, I ended up being able to create a successful space in my business. And what makes me so passionate about automation is because I was, went to school for life coaching, got my certification. When I graduated, everyone around me didn't know how to put together their packages. They didn't know how to put together their offerings. And so that's how I ended up being called in that space. And I realized very easily I'm not that, even though I do use my life coaching when I'm working with my clients because I do have to connect with them, but I'm
Mhm.
not usually like that mushy type of person. I'm like that. I get into your business and I do the stuff for you. So that's
High
why
five,
the
girl.
agency,
That's what I'm not the mushy one either, honey. No, 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 no. Not to touchy feely. I'm the accountability. Let's make it happen, girl.
absolutely. And so my clients, they're tired of being told what to do. They just need somebody to come in and do it.
Yes.
Um, And so that is kind of how I ended up into the space that I'm in now, where I went from literally launching my business, being launching the business to where it was successful. I had to make a turn of events in my business. I had to pivot. And at the time, I didn't have my system set up. I didn't have my automation set up. I didn't have the things that I have set up now to be able to pivot. So I ended up going back into the marketplace. I ended up working back in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to basically go back to work because I didn't have my systems in place. And so a lot of times people don't realize this, but the one thing that's preventing you, that is your freedom, is the automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the marketplace is constantly changing, right? Like we might be doing automation right now for sales and for small business owners, but we keep getting calls now for business automation, administrative automation, for like bigger companies, franchises, and things like that. So you never know where you may have to pivot, and if you don't have your systems in place, you can't pivot with your audience. And so that is what I found early on in my business. And I said, I'm going to make it my mission to make sure that all my sisters have their stuff set up if I have to do it myself, and make sure that there is no turning back to the man for whatever. You are solely out here on your gifts, monetizing and being successful.
Oof, girl, you just excited me. I hope y'all heard that because I know that there are some women right now that made the opposite decision that you made. They
I
stayed
get
in.
a lot of clients. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like, why? You're not happy either. You're not happy. And you're not happy. And that type of ultimatum, anyway, we're not, that's a whole nother conversation. But kudos to you for pursuing, for finding and standing in your why. Because I know that we're talking about that decision, but I know that was a decision. And then you overcame another obstacle and roadblock when you didn't have a car. Many people, I would do this if I had a car, if I had this. You would like, honey, let me get innovative because I'm hungry for this. And I'm doing a 90-day challenge riding my bike. No, who would know the difference? Like, really? Girl, kudos to you for that. I mean, that is amazing, but that just speaks to your determination and why you are at the six-figure mark in your company right now. Because that was a total shift in mindset. I mean, seriously. Because sometimes we do have, not sometimes, whenever we're getting ready to shift to the next level or the next dimension, we have to be, we got to be hungry for it. Like, you know what? I can't accept no. This is
And
how.
I shared that story too because um, my big reason for sharing my story that I just shared with you was because whenever you make that decision, life is going to come and knock you in the mouth and say, how bad do you want it?
Mhm.
And it's up, whatever, how you respond to that is going to predict how successful you are.
Yes, 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 yes. I love it. And I thank you so much for that. I mean, just sharing that story alone, I know is going to inspire so many people because we're talking about the CEO mindset for success. And this is the real, you guys, like the real. And, you know, for me, my foundation is God in everything that I do. And so I know that for me, shifting my mindset, because again, I was a country girl. Heard a lot of we can't afford it, wait a minute, we don't have it right. I grew up with that a lot, and my father worked hard, trust me. I mean, you know, but he did the best he could with what he had, and so I grew up with that mindset, which is more of a lack mindset. And it's taken me a minute to break through that, because when things get uncomfortable, many of you know that this is my third battle with breast cancer. And so in between all of that, just, you know, things happen. And so you still gotta find a way to make it happen. You still gotta press through. As long as you wake up every day and you have life and breath in your body, you are in a perfect position to begin again or take the next step. And when we're talking about the CEO mindset for success, I'll share with you three things that I do every day that help me continue on to develop this growth mindset. Because I had a lot of stuff, y'all. I had women wounds, just again dealing with health issues and, you know, divorce and just life, you know, things that we as women go through. And then one day, and y'all have heard me say this before, I looked in the mirror. I was walking by the mirror and I was honest with myself and said, I don't like the woman that I'm becoming. I don't like her. And so I began to work on her. And one of the things that I do every day is before my feet hit the floor, I say three things that I'm grateful for. And then throughout the day, if I feel stuff coming up, I'll say three things that I'm grateful for. The next thing that I did that was huge for me was I began to really celebrate other women. like really genuinely from my heart celebrate other women and what that looks like. And this is you might can relate to this, Nikki, but women wounds. You know what I mean when I say woman wounds? When you've been been wounded by women. That's basically, and those are deep. They're kind of like church hurt too, especially when you're young, you're entrepreneur, you're looking for mentors and stuff, and you engage with people and you find out that they really not who they say they are, or they with you for a minute and then they give it another group and then they start acting funny. All of those things that I took kind of personally when I was young, but I'm a grown black woman now. So, but learning how to celebrate people in spite of, just because it is the right thing to do. Like on social media, I see this quite a bit, and I just kind of, you could post something, no one likes it. Somebody else posts something, they get a million likes and stuff, but y'all all used to be in the same circle, and you're getting your feelings if that's where your head is. I wonder why she did all of that. That was the space I was in some years ago. And now I just share and comment and like and think nothing else about it, because that's part of my growth, because I do want women, especially black women, I want to see us succeed. And then that's two. And then the third thing that I do is that I really think to myself, and we were talking about this in Bible study on Tuesday, what would Jesus do? That's something that I really keep in my head here recently, because, as you said, as you break through in your business and break through in your life and you accomplish certain things, then here comes a new level and here comes a new devil. And he's stronger and he's more wittier and he believes in you probably more than you do. And so I think to myself, okay, what would Jesus do? And that's how I try to keep my flesh under control, because the less fun in me, yeah, she can be a booger, okay? And I've got to get delivered from her. But just in case someone is wondering, how do you move past some of these things? If people hurt you, and they may never say they're sorry, but you still got to figure out a way to get past that. Because what happens in your personal life, I don't care how professional you try to be, it's going to spill over into your professional life if you don't deal with it. Somebody could say the wrong thing, and you'll know it. You cussed out a customer and you're like, my bad. Where did that come from? Well, that's some of that mess that you haven't dealt with. And I want to call it mess because, it's real, but you still got to deal with that. But those are three things that I do that have helped me to develop my growth mindset, so that I can truly be the supportive black woman that I know I needed when I was getting started in business and just really becoming a young woman. So do you have how do you keep in that zone where you are, continuing to develop and stay in that zone of a positive growth mindset? Do you have any rituals or routines that you do?
Okay, you said a mouthful again. I was taking notes too. So one of my rituals that I believe in is I believe in getting help and getting therapy.
Yes.
Because if you don't unpack your baggage, you're gonna throw it up on every client.
Mm.
And I've learned that myself. That is really what I focused on this year. I'm gonna be real transparent with you. At the beginning of this year, I made a decision and I made a huge pivot for my agency. A lot of my clients didn't look like me at the beginning of this year. And I made a decision that is going to be my main focus are my sisters and those that look like me. In doing so, I knew that I had to step into a space and be willing to step into the fire, because a lot of us are wounded. A lot of us are hurt from past coaches and past experiences. And to be honest with you, I have as well. Like last year, I made a $15,000 investment on one coach. Before that, I had made a $20,000 investment on another coach, right? And had I let that stop me, right? Those two bad experiences that really didn't get me anywhere. All it did was put me in the negative, made me depressed, right? Because I was like, oh my God, like I put all this money out. Like, what am I going to do now? Right. And then I have my husband who's looking at me, who's like, okay, like when is the money going to come in? Right. And so, number one, is I am going to be the solution. I am going to be that person who steps into the pocket, and I'm going to live up to who I am, and I'm going to serve my sister the best way I can. So all I can do is just be the best me.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm sorry for those who hurt you before me, but here I'm standing up for
Yes.
you. I am standing in the fire for your business, and I am going to make it happen at all means, at all costs. And so that is something that I had to really hold in on this year. And business is my ministry. Business
Yes.
is is, yes, it's nice, yes, it's lucrative, yes, it is fun when you're making money, right? But it's really my ministry, and it's really how I serve my sisters and really connects with them. You learn how to be integral, right, through working with me. You learn through how to be consistent through working with me. That's like those are the top things that my clients really learn from me, along with clarity. You learn how to be clear on what exactly it is that you're doing in this marketplace, right? I can't tell you how many times I look at my clients and they're like all over the place. And when we're done working together, they're so mission focused and they're so focused on everything, right? And
Beautiful.
a lot of things in our community, we need to get out of the habit of wanting to grab everything, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
just focus in on our thing.
Yes. You have no idea.
Before,
I'm telling you, I'm so emotional right now because you didn't know this, but I had a conversation today with another lady about this very thing. How
Mhm.
we are feeling this need to really reach back to our sisters, specifically our sisters. And I was sharing with her how nervous I was to even come out with Grown Black Woman Success because it was so niched, right? And you hear these things, you don't want to overlook people and you don't want to do this. And I'm like, why is it that if we are pro black women doesn't make us anti anyone else? And so I was sharing with her how I heard this morning, God was saying, I want you to coach the gospel. And I'm listening to you talk about ministry and how your business is your ministry. And so as you were talking about the women wounds and how we have to do better, it just resonated with me because I was in that place this morning of really just praying for us as Black women, because I do believe that this is the year, the coming year, this is the season of the Black woman. And we have to seize it. And so many of us have so many gifts and talents locked up inside of us because we don't understand the value of coaching. We don't understand how to build a business on a solid foundation. We're all over the place trying to piece it together because we're afraid to just connect and ask for support. And just to hear you say that today, it just moved my spirit because I know that this is a divine conversation as well. And I know that, it's one thing when you hear God, but then when he confirms his word, because you just confirmed his word a third time for me today. So you probably didn't know, like, what is going on with her? But that is it. What you just said is so key for us, because I don't believe that our young sisters see enough of us in this space and successfully working together in this space. And so I thank you for sharing your story and for sharing that. And I know that our conversation is going on because you and I, we could talk forever, Nikki. but
I
but
do want to say, yeah. So I do get a lot of clients that I do inbox. And lately, like I've just been on a mission. Like I literally inbox. That's how you and I connected. I inboxed
yes,
you to see if there was a need for automation in your business and us connecting. And then you offered me to come on this platform. And so a lot of times I hop on calls and I can't tell you how many times we bawl out and we cry because
yes,
like they're excited that they found me, right? Like that we connected, but they're excited that they don't feel like they're being scammed. They're
yes,
excited that they don't feel like they are being sold something to you. Because when
yes,
we hop on a call, it's really not a sales call. Like it's really like, how can I serve you,
yes,
right? And then number three, it is like they're just so excited that they are on the phone with a real person that really
yes,
wants to help them.
yes,
So
yes, yes,
just understand that everyone's not out there to hurt you. Um, and and a lot of times in my inboxes too, I get the women who are wearing a mask who don't want to admit that they need my help. And so I would like to realize that those are the people that need it the most. And so two things I would love to leave with the ladies is, understand that everyone's not out here to hurt you, and understand that wearing a mask is only isolating you from the solutions that God has put in your path to be able to serve you and help you grow.
yes. I love that. Thank you so much, Nick. And I know we have your information scrolling there, how to get in contact with you on Instagram and Facebook and your website. But are there any other places? I know you are on the social scene, but are those the preferred places that people can get in contact with you?
Oops, excuse me. You can actually add me on my personal page, Nikki Coner. You can also follow our agency with packagetoprofit.com. And if you're looking to, discuss further about automation in your business, you can go to applytoautomate.com and fill out a questionnaire. And if you're a great fit, a great candidate, then you will get access to my calendar and we will have a discussion. And then also going across the screen, automateyourbiz.co. Get a free gift from me on how to create your irresistible offer.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on. We were talking about the mindset of a CEO, a lot of great nuggets. It's just a great conversation about how we as women, Black women, can really grown Black women can develop a CEO mindset. Thank you so much for sharing your nuggets, your expertise, your wisdom, and your heart with us. I'm just honored that we connected, and I know that this is the beginning of something beautiful. And again, if you need to automate your business, you need to get in contact with Nikki. Quit trying to do it all yourself. Get you some help so that you can build and you can grow, expand, and thrive. Because this is, I'm telling you, 2021, it is the year of the Black woman. I just feel it. I sense it. It is our time and our season, and we need to get prepared for it. So again, thank you so much, Nikki. Now, before we go, I got to ask you a couple of questions about how you rock your grown Black womanness. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Stiletto, wedges, or sneakers?
To be honest with you, I am all three, but if I had to choose
Uh-huh.
out of all of them, I would say stilettos.
Okay. Dress, power suit, or jeans?
Um, Power suit.
Okay. Matte, glossy, or lip gloss?
Glossy.
Okay, all right. We got the stiletto with the power suit and with the glossy. All right, now you've had a productive week. It's the weekend. So tell me, what type of weekend is it? Is it a chilling with my boo weekend? Is it a relax with a remote weekend? Is it a hanging out with my girlfriend's weekend? Or is it I'm a down for whatever weekend?
Down for whatever.
All right, Nikki says she's down for whatever.
I
Thank
would
you.
definitely say with the power of automation in my biz, I work 2 to 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. So I
Okay.
actually don't work Thursdays is the only thing I'm doing today.
Okay.
But down for whatever the other days is, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much again, Nikki. Thank you so much, ladies. I hope that you've learned so much. I hope you've been inspired. I hope you've been empowered. I hope you take these nuggets. If you need to listen to the replay and like, hey, push pause and write that down again, do that because our goal here is for you to develop the CEO mindset for success. And we know that success looks different for each and every one of us, but it is available for each and every one of us as well. And so until our next conversation, stay bold, stay beautiful, and stay blessed.
Bye. Thank you.